Hi folks, welcome to the Candidates Forum. I'm Dave Gauss, your host today, and we're here again with Bev Courtney, who's running for mayor of Las Cruces. Bev, welcome again.
Thank you, Dave. I'm glad to be here.
We have a lot to discuss. Now, Bev, I believe your platform today is election integrity.
Yes.
Now, is there really voter fraud in Las Cruces and Doñana County?
There is rumored to be a long history of voter fraud.
I believe there is.
And, I've had some up close and personal experiences.
Well, so tell me about some of those experiences. What did you experience personally with voter fraud? Now, you ran for election...
2013 for a city council race.
Okay.
In District 3.
Okay.
And so I just jumped in. I didn't know anything about politics. And so I had to do a ballot petition, which you turn in to be certified. And I had to have 20, maybe 25 signatures.
Okay.
And so I had worked the polls all those years. And I knew everybody who signed my petition. I knew that they voted regularly because they were my neighbors right there on my street.
So you didn't have a problem getting the 25 signatures that were required?
I just went to people that, I had been working the polls and on my street, basically.
Okay. So you knew everybody that signed.
I
did. What happened?
Well, on Friday evening at 5, I got the news that I was not certified, and that was shocking to me.
And what stopped that certification?
Well, what happened was just detail of the law, where it said that you have to sign the ballot petition at the address where you originally registered.
Okay.
Well, people have moved and they could still vote, so they didn't bother to change their address, which is still like that.
So it was a technicality.
A technicality.
Should it have stopped your certification?
It shouldn't have, because they all still lived in District 3.
Wow.
They had moved around the block or moved out from their parents' house.
Okay. So did you fight this?
I did.
And how did it turn out?
And I won, and I had to go get witnesses, and they said, yes, we're qualified electors.
Did this affect, now you said that this happened on a Friday, how did that relate to when you were able to run, or?
Well, they were already printing the ballots by, I believe it was Tuesday. Don't hold me to the details because
so they told you like 1 or 2 business days at the most to correct this problem? So did you get on the ballot?
I did, but I challenged them in court.
Good.
So, time and money.
Well, it shows you some of this slippery business that goes on to try and keep people out of the race.
That's right. See, state statute allows you 10 days to have recourse for a challenge.
Well, you didn't.
They didn't. They do that on purpose. They use the law as a weapon to keep certain people out, and I didn't fit their values.
Well.
My values are, I want to know the truth.
Well, you're a conservative.
And I want to uphold America's law of liberty.
Okay, so you're a strong conservative, and I guess, and from what I see, that all of our city council is progressive. They're left-leaning progressive.
Right, we don't have equal representation.
Well.
But back to the story, I challenged, I won. So they said, we already printed the ballots. Because like I said, you don't have any space for a challenge or for recourse.
Now, you said that you're supposed to have 10 days recourse,
according to state statute, but we're under home rule.
Home rule charter.
So anybody could make those rules.
Oh, my gosh.
Anybody. A secretary, probably the city attorney who had to resign in disgrace.
Well, Bev, when you become mayor, now are you going to change that?
He was a dishonest guy, that attorney.
Are you going to change that charter to give people a fair shot?
Yes.
All right.
Yes, of course.
All right.
So
I'm going to hold you to that.
What they did, Dave, is they had to put a sticker with my name on the ballot.
Huh, okay. And probably a lot of people would think, well, what's this all about? We're not going to bother voting for Bev. Oh.
And I actually didn't do too bad in that election.
Okay.
My friend called it the 357 election because between Miss Rose's vote and mine, there was 357 votes.
Oh, geez. Okay. So. Well, I've heard of other voter integrity fraud, too. I think it was Yvette Harold that was running against Oshie Small, and Yvette Harold was way ahead, but then at the last minute, 4,000 ballots turned up from somewhere, a
Actually,
warehouse.
I
Another
have-
4,000 turned up.
I have that report right here.
Could you read a little bit of that?
Well, okay.
Just
Yeah, that was just recent history, okay? Because
well, you know what? I'll tell you what. Better yet, let the folks from the audience find out this information. Where did this information come from?
okay, well, Yvette Harold ran in CD2. She was running in Congressman Pierce
Right,
district
right. The federal
against
federal
Soshi
congressman.
Torres Small.
Yes.
Okay, well, we were there at the election party that night, and it looked like she was ahead.
Right, right.
And so this report came about because we were all shocked, because after the polls closed at 11, they found these close to
7.
9,000.
The polls close at 7, right?
Did I say something?
You said 11, but that's, but that you're
7.
probably a Freudian slip. It could very well be that these showed up at 11, well
They
after.
showed up after the 7 p.m. deadline,
Well.
which is against the statute.
Yes, it is.
So she challenged it,
Yes.
and that's where this report came from her attorneys. I also hired an attorney, but I don't know, I'm not going to say who he is, but I don't know what happened to him. He did nothing.
Okay.
He did
Okay.
not do
Now,
nothing.
so was this for your election?
Yes.
This past election
Yes.
cycle? Okay.
Because the numbers changed right at the very end with those
see-
absentee ballots for all of us, really.
Well, you know, I heard too that people that came in to vote, and they went up to the person assigned, and when they said they wanted to vote, they gave their name and information, that they couldn't vote because they had already voted absentee, and they said, I never
Never.
asked for absentee ballot.
Right.
So somebody fraudulently voted in an absentee ballot, and when the true voter came up, they were only allowed to vote provisionally. And I heard that the provisional votes were thrown out, so they used the original,
Yeah.
which was a fraudulent vote.
We'll look into this report a little bit about the issues, but I want you to know that you can get this report from the New Mexico Justice Project Facebook page. And you just go find that, like their page. They have a website link on there. Click on the website link and go to resources. Once that opens, go to resources, click on that. It's going to give you this whole report. And everybody needs to read this report for themselves because it's very detailed. And it's not a question of if voter fraud happened, but what it was, the details of what happened. It wasn't enough to overturn the election, Dave, but it was definitely fraud.
Well, but that's, if they uncover so much, you know there's so much more behind it. It's like an iceberg. You might see a little bit of it. You might be able to prove that. But
Right.
there's a whole lot more that maybe you can't prove or can't uncover within a certain time.
And keep
So-
in mind there were 17 districts that she ran in.
Okay.
So
okay.
this was one of them.
Okay, that's only one.
One.
So expand that to 17 times that. Oh my gosh.
And the anomalies happened where there was, well, I need to get into that, where there were, just bear with me a moment.
Sure. Well, we do know that there's voter fraud. And folks, it's so important that we expose this, we talk about it, we investigate it, just like Bev said. Go on the website and what was the name of the website again?
New Mexico Justice Project.
New Mexico Justice Project. Okay.
And this particular report is on there. They've also covered all of the new election law that was passed in this last legislative session. And some of it is very concerning because the reason we need laws for the election is it's a peaceful transition of power.
Okay.
Okay? We want to know that it's honest, that there's integrity, because if somebody's cheating, you know, it's going to cause division. It's going to cause people to feel like they've been victimized.
Sure.
It's criminal.
Well, that's another point that you make, because if you have somebody, and I'm not saying, I know this occurs, to what degree I don't know, but you have illegals coming into our country. Why is it that the Democratic progressives are interested in allowing people to come into our country, if not for maybe a larger base for the census, so that they can have more congressional representation, or that they will vote Democratic once they come into the country because they could be on the welfare system, they could be on food stamps, they could get federal assistance. So the motive to me is definitely obvious, that the Democratic Party wants to bring illegals in, and they're the only ones, when we bring up integrity, voter integrity, election integrity, they're the only ones that complain.
Let me, because that's one of the issues in here, is non-resident, non-citizen voters. The election law calls it non-qualified electors.
Okay.
Well, here is the problem. It's not just that the American citizen, the taxpayer, you know, we pay our taxes, we expect representation.
Sure.
It's a question of victimizing these asylum seekers. Because if they, so the part of the new laws is that MVD will register people,
Motor Vehicle Division,
and then the Human Services Department
HHS.
will register people. Well, they're getting all of the asylum seekers, and they're giving them a voter registration in each one of their packets.
Whoa.
Okay, so think about them.
Wait a minute. If they sign that they're a U.S. citizen, they're a
Well,
felon.
they don't read, well, it may be in Spanish, I don't know, but there's a little box that says, are you a U.S. citizen?
Right.
Well, if somebody's handing them that and encouraging them to do that, they might not be paying attention to details because they're in transition, they're in upheaval, they're worried about their food, where they're going,
And they're
their
trusting-
children being separated from them, whatever.
And they're trusting the people that are that appear to be helping them,
here's-
when actually they're using them.
Here's the problem,
Okay.
is that it's a felony, it's a criminal offense to register, and you're a non-qualified citizen.
So what happens if these people are actually uncovered and caught through no fault of their own? They were trusting the wrong people. They can go to jail,
They can go to jail,
deported.
they can be deported,
And
and
never-
they're not eligible for citizenship.
Wow, they've just
That's
destroyed that whole
that's-
opportunity.
That's the real victimization.
This is bad. This is real bad. These people aren't aware that they're being set
And the
up.
people that are helping them are not aware.
Well, I don't know about that.
Well, they're probably not, because I went and downloaded the election results. I mean, the election, the statutes,
Okay.
and read the city charter. I'm not a lawyer, and it takes me a little while, but I read it.
Okay.
And that's the truth of it.
So-
They're
I believe
They're
the
hurting
people.
themselves.
I believe the people that
They're
are
getting hurt.
actually helping this happen are fully aware of what's going on. So I would think that if a non-citizen that's here for asylum or for whatever reason, if our laws allow them to come into our country, and they are registered voters when they're not U.S. citizens, they're a victim of a crime, but so is the person that set them up. So they need to be uncovered
well, I
too.
don't know if the statutes gives any.
Well,
There should be a penalty.
It's a conspiracy to commit a felony. So that right there, if they're conspiring by helping these people do something that's a felony, they're a conspirator.
You know what? I want them to apply for citizenship.
Sure.
They will appreciate America. They'll be good citizens.
Sure, absolutely.
You know, because they're going to flee from the other places they came from, and they're going to have equal justice under the law here.
We all should do that.
They're created equal under
Yep.
the law in America. And that's why they come here from all over the world.
Sure, I would think that our country's doing pretty darn good if they want to become a
Right.
citizen, do it the
Right.
legal way.
They don't need to come here and become a slave class and be exploited.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, no, I hear you. I think we're going to take a short break, and then when we come back, we will discuss more about voter election fraud and how we can solve that problem.
Thank you.
So stay tuned, folks. We'll be right back with Bev Courtney running for Las Cruces Mayor. There you go.
So great. You can do all these different gears in the plan.
Okay.
Nice.
Guys, not all. But
Granite is here. We'll come to you to customize your kitchen and bathroom with beautiful countertops and cabinets. Find out more at horizongranite.com. Call us at 575-650-3180.
Horizon Granite is here.
It's here.
Make yourself a beautiful home.
Hi, I'm Ray Bamberg with Here on Earth. I would like to invite you for a free hearing evaluation to our office. We've been here in southern New Mexico for 34 years helping people hear better.
Hi folks, welcome back to Candidates Forum. We're here again with Bev Courtney, who's running for Las Cruces mayor. Now we've covered a lot of issues here, but the one that we stopped on at the break was about the voter integrity in Doñana County and absentee balloting. That's a biggie. We turned up with Yvette Harrell, 8,000 absentee ballots showed up at the last minute, and it actually threw the election.
It did,
But
a lot of people.
But you have information about the change in absentee balloting over time. So why don't you tell us?
Dave, there were these anomalies that didn't just happen in Doñana, although here it was kind of extreme, but it happened statewide.
Okay.
Where this election did not follow the pattern of the previous elections, even from the presidential election in 2016, which typically a presidential election brings out all kinds of more voters.
Right.
But in the 2018 election, which was not a presidential, there was a 148% increase in the absentee voting.
Holy smoke, 148%. That's more than double than they had before.
Yes, and that happened in the other counties as well. So it was totally unexpected. So that's one of the issues. That was a statewide thing that happened. The progressives swept all of the elections. And that in itself is a red flag that none of the popular people.
Well, I noticed something. Both my wife and myself, we both got an absentee ballot application sent to us. It's like, where did this come from? One came from New Jersey, one came from Pennsylvania. Well, we live there. So why would it come to us for us to suggest that we wanted an absentee ballot?
And you've changed your registration here quite some time ago.
Yes, we have. Now, also, our county clerk, Amanda, and I believe Lindsay, Amanda Askin and Lindsay Bachman, both received, it was Amanda Askin and her mother, both received absentee ballot, not applications, but the suggestion to ask for an absentee ballot sent to their home. What's going on? Some outside agency is prompting people to get an absentee ballot.
Yes, electronically.
So,
there was a lot of problems with those electronic ballots because it lowered the standard, because before nobody could handle your absentee ballot but you or a close relative you gave permission, or a caregiver.
So when did this change?
Well, did it change, or they just took advantage of it without? So it's like fudging the law without actually.
Well, that's where we have to stand up. First of all, we have to understand what the law is, and then we can make a complaint because we know it's violated.
It's interesting that you got those from those other states, because there's been, according to the Heritage Foundation, there was 1,217 cases nationwide of voter fraud with 1,053 convictions. It has impacted 47 of our 50 states.
That's a lot of convictions.
It's a lot of
People think that's a low number, but you have to really prove beyond a reasonable doubt that this happened. That takes a lot to prove that. So that many convictions, even though it's 10% or even 1%, it's a lot.
Let me just give you a short list on what the problems were with this last election with the absentee ballots.
This is in Doñana County.
In Doñana County.
Okay.
It has similarities to what happened in Las Vegas, New Mexico.
Oh.
Where the city mayor is in trouble with, she's been accused. I don't know that she's had court date because they don't really publicize it a lot, but she was accused of voter fraud.
Okay.
But so here's issue one, was the voter ID. We have a very low requirement that doesn't have to prove you're a citizen, or basically even a residence. You can say, I live here, and show an address with an electric bill or something, and you can vote. There's a lot of people that vote from same addresses. There were quite a few votes from commercial P.O. boxes,
Okay.
which is against the
That-
rules.
No, you have to have a geographic location.
That's right. Of course, we know that the ballots were marked after the 7 p.m. deadline.
That's illegal there.
That's illegal. The chain of custody issues. When ballots are impounded, they are supposed to stay impounded before the canvassing and the counts, which they didn't do. It took them 16 days, not 24 hours.
And I heard too that there was, I think it was City Hall, where the ballots were impounded. There was a guard on the front door, but the back door was not guarded. It's like
It's
there's
supposed to
so
be
many
under the
things.
state police.
There's supposed to be a lot of safeguards, and after this last election, leaves a lot of questions.
So yeah, and the electronic absentee applications, they decertified, they rejected hundreds of them. I'm not quite sure if it was 577, but there was a bunch
Right.
that were just rejected after
Well, let me.
after this was filed.
This last city council race we had, the difference between winning and losing was 8 votes, 11 votes, and 150 votes in 3 of the council races. It's like, you know, a little bit of fraud can go a long way and can really throw an election. So
Right.
we can't allow any of it.
So possible ballot harvesting.
Sure.
I myself am witness to that because I was advocate in a nursing home for 10 plus years.
You were an advocate in a
Uh-huh.
nursing
And my
home?
little friend would say, well, they come and let me vote today. I said, did you make sure that they voted the way you wanted them to? And she never saw it
She never saw it.
because she couldn't see that well. Those
So
people,
somebody was making out her ballot for her.
Yes.
Jeez.
And they went to the rehab hospitals. How about hospice?
These weren't
That's
personal
not
friends
illegal.
of the voter.
I don't think it's illegal, but it's
It's
unethical.
unethical. Sure. Now, these people that actually helped them with their voting, were they relatives? Did they know the people?
No.
Or were they...
They're supposed to be relatives. So ballot harvesting is questionable.
Sure.
And so that's that. And what else? Disenfranchisement, because like you said, you got wrongful absentee ballot applications. And we have...
I never requested mine.
Yeah, there's a whole list of them back here in the back of this report.
Well, you know, the one way to eliminate this possibility is have a true voter identification. But what I understand is that the Democrat progressives do not want voter identification. And why is that? My thinking is, maybe it's from being a cop for 25 years, the motive is that they want to fraudulently get people to vote for what they want, for their ideology.
So I'm not sure, there's like 20-something voter incident reports in this report, but I know that at the Republican Party they had, do you know how many there were? There were,
No.
I don't know if there were hundreds, but there was
Well, if you
a
have
large
one or two,
number.
like I said, the city elections, people lost by 5 votes, by 8 votes, by 11 votes. It's like, it doesn't take much to throw an election.
Yes.
When you have a low voter turnout. So folks, if you're not getting out voting, and you don't know who you're voting for, you're the problem. And I'm the problem if I don't get out to vote. So make sure you understand who the candidates are, what their platforms are, and this is a nonpartisan race. This isn't about Democrats and Republicans. It's about conservatives and liberals, I think. So you have to make the decision about your candidates. And once you do that, you make sure you get out and vote. You have early voting, you have absentee voting. There's no excuse for getting out. And there's people that will help you get to vote if you can't do it. So it's all about integrity. Now let me ask you this. Bev, didn't the president have some executive order about voter integrity?
He sure did, because a lot of the Secretary of States would not cooperate with him. I don't know if you
I heard that.
remember he first got elected.
Yes. I think Mike Pence
Our
was assigned.
particular Secretary of State is willing to publicize who donates to money to political PACs, but she wasn't willing to give the voter rolls to the president, which is actually public
Public information.
information.
Well-
you can go pay for it for $20-25 and
Well, I have a solution to
Have
that.
it.
I would say that any governor that will not turn over their voter rolls for a federal election cannot be counted in a federal election. So you don't have a say whether the president gets elected or not.
So he
So-
actually issued this executive order in July, and he ordered every federal department and agency to provide requested records to the Department of Commerce and the Social Security Administration to compile a list of American citizens.
There you go.
And that's...
Vital statistics,
so
too.
I don't know how long it's going to take them, but if you have inadvertently voted and you're not a qualified elector, you can try to remedy it.
Sure. You could honestly go and say what happened. But if you don't,
Yeah.
you could very well face some jail time, deportation, lose your chance to ever be an
to be an
American
American
citizen.
citizen.
Well, Bev, we're getting close to the end of the show here. So is there a way for folks to get a hold of you, how they can help with your campaign?
Okay, I have a brick and mortar building because it's an offshoot of the business. My farm's training business is already doing 2645 Missouri Avenue, Suite 1. And my phone number is 575-642-1003.
And I believe people can reach you on Facebook as well?
Facebook, Bev for Mayor. And I have a email, Bev for New Mexico. Bev Courtney for New Mexico. All one word, NM, not New Mexico.
Bev
for
Courtney.
NM
And for, the number
FOR.
4?
FOR.
Oh, FOR, not the number.
at gmail.com.
Okay, very good, Bev. Well, thank you so much for today. Come back again, and folks, stay tuned for more exciting adventures at the Candidates Forum with all the people that want to speak to you about issues in Las Cruces. Thanks,
Get
Bev.
this report. I'm Bev Courtney, and I approve this message. Carol Cooper, Treasurer.